What's up, beautiful people? It is the BMR NBA show brought to you, as always, by Bookmakers Review. I am Jordan Sharp, and as always, we are joined by Jay Money and Junior Browne. Welcome back from a long weekend. It was a pretty big one of hoops action as well. Not a bad weekend for yours truly. I'll just recap yesterday. Only play for me yesterday. Had the over in the first half in the Bucks-Knicks. Thought it was dead after the first quarter. Then they dropped like 65 second quarter points. Gotta love fading the Knicks defense. I did it on Friday. If you were at Friday's show and you remember, I had the over in the Knicks game as well in the first half. Could not get that one, but we damn sure got Sunday afternoon. I usually bet the under in those spots in those afternoon matinee games, either in Los Angeles or New York. But this one, gotta fade the Knicks defense. But story of yesterday was a lot of money came in on the dogs, and not too many dogs came to play yesterday. Durant dropped 50 on the Pistons, despite them taking some money early on. They easily covered. Dallas, no Luka, no problem. They got shorted, no problem, beating Oklahoma City by 19. Same thing happened to New Orleans. San Antonio ended up winning by double digits. And then the Lakers, of course, just magically just covered that number, whatever you got, whether it was 9.5 to 11 somewhere. A lot of people dumped money on the Magic, didn't matter. Lakers ended up getting the cover. So 1-0 for me yesterday. Feeling pretty good about it heading into today's slate, even though we have a lot of unknowns. So I'll kick over to my guy, Junior Browne. Junior, how'd you end up this weekend?
I didn't have any plays yesterday. I actually had a family member's birthday, so I was a bit tore up. I've been watching football all day. All my money was on discount double check Aaron Rodgers, so unfortunately I don't really have anything to say about yesterday's games. I did watch the Milwaukee-New York game, though, because it was such an early game, like a matinee game. Very, very, very impressed by the Bucks. I got to play on them today. I think that line's a little bit short. Jay, how was your weekend?
Weekend was pretty good, man. I had the Nuggets on Saturday. Had my Mavs yesterday, so I'm looking forward to get to some cash today, my guys.
Let's do it. Let's do. No further questions needed. We kick it off right here in Indianapolis, about 10 minutes down the street from me here. For Monday's slate, we got the Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry chasing that record. Will he play? Will he not play? Not on the injury report currently here in Indianapolis tonight, but we will see if that continues throughout the afternoon. We'll be watching that closely. Probably one of the bigger stories of today, obviously. Steph Curry only needing 7 threes to break the NBA record of Ray Allen. So but right now, it seems like bettors betting on Curry sitting tonight, because the Pacers are taking a little bit of money down from +4 to +3. A little bit of under money coming in as well, which is where I think I would look on this game if I had to play, but currently do not, because as you guys know, it's pretty much going to be the theme of this slate and some beyond it. Definitely tomorrow, we talk about the Chicago Bulls, Jesus Christ. Got to look at the injury report, got to know who's playing. And with that in mind, I think for this one, I'm going to stay away simply because I know that the Pacers are going to come to play. I know this crowd will be ready for this game, despite it being on one of the worst NBA nights ever, Monday night. But if Steph Curry does kind of surprise everybody and play tonight, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he, just hits 6 threes tonight and just saves it for Madison Square Garden. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. I can also see if he plays the Warriors being a pretty good bet in this one. So I'm going to kick it over to Jay. Jay, if we do get Steph in this game, let's say Steph does play and all the hype about him resting this one and trying to break the record in Madison Square Garden is overhyped. Are they a value tonight against the Pacers, or are we staying away here with this Pacers team that is somehow suddenly motivated and playing pretty well at home?
Yeah, the Pacers been playing well. My system says take the team that's been at the house for a while. I believe this is the 6th game of the Pacers' 6-game homestand. So I'm not looking to fade a team that's shooting on the same goals for 6 straight games, even though they do head out on the road for one game after this one. So it's a tough game for me. I'll be honest though, Jordan. I didn't necessarily see anything. I think everything I'm seeing is that he's expected to play. Yeah. Regardless of that though, like I just don't see him rest, just like pure rest in this game. He would have to have an injury. But I do think regardless, he'll break the streak. He'll break the record tomorrow, and obviously like one of the makers of basketball, Madison Square Garden. So regardless, I don't see him hitting 7 threes tonight. I think it'll be more big of a moment if he does it in Madison Square Garden. So as far as betting this game, what I've been seeing is he's really been focusing on trying to break the record a little bit too much, and it's actually messed with the team's offense. So the Warriors, they've been getting wins, not getting covers. This is a short number on the road. The Pacers been playing well, man. I don't know. It's a tough game. I'm staying away from this one, my guys.
Junior, what do you think about this one?
I got the under 215 in this spot. I think that the Warriors look to bounce back after a tough loss, and this is a team that bounces back with defense. People think of them as an offensive team, but I've said this a lot of times. When they won their first title, they were the best defensive team in the league, and that's been the formula for their success. So I think that they come out and try to lock down these Pacers. I know the Pacers are a much better home team. They score like 111 points a game at home, but I just think that the Warriors will come to play tonight. I do agree with something Jay just said, though, that Steph chasing the record has kind of thrown off their offense and thrown off his game a little bit, to be honest with you. Just let it happen. And I really think, though, it's not a matter of he's chasing the record as much as I think he was trying to set it up for it to be in Madison Square. There's no way that didn't cross his mind, because I anticipate, as much as Knicks fans are back and they cheer for their guy, it's going to be a lot of Steph Curry fans in the building, a lot of people cheering for him to get that record, and it's going to be just like a must-see TV, electric type atmosphere. So I think that him, anytime in any sport you start looking ahead, you screw with the present. And I think that part of that is them getting a win tonight after their pretty bad display on Saturday night against Philly. No matter what, you still got to come out and treat your opponent with the respect they deserve, and I expect them to do that tonight against a Pacers team that's still going to be missing Rick Carlisle. Which, listen, that last game against the Mavs, the score was tied like 87 or 89, and they went on an 11-2 run. But the Mavs were right there in that game, and part of the reason is because the Pacers offense looked terrible. They shot like 41% in that game. So it's really, they just kind of outlasted the Mavs. And I see Golden State really putting the clamps down on these guys tonight.
Yeah, I had the Warriors -2.5 against the Sixers the other night, and I watched some of that game. And I wouldn't say that Steph's trying too hard, because I don't think that's the right term. He's pressing a little bit, and anybody who's played basketball kind of knows what that is, knows what that looks like. It definitely kind of seems like he's pressing a little bit when he goes out there on offense. So yeah, if they kind of look at, I mean, it wouldn't be terrible if he didn't break the record in Madison Square Garden either, because they got Friday night in the other Garden up north in Boston. So I mean, it's like they're a couple of great storylines. I don't think it matters anymore at this point. Like, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. We all know this. So I think if Steph can calm down and kind of start to play back within himself a little bit, I think that I agree. I think that it was easily going to break it here tomorrow night, but probably could have a pretty good game too in that regard. So one of the reasons why I think I'm staying away from a total in this one too, if Steph does have a heater tonight. But we can move on, unless you guys don't have anything else to say about this one. Next one, another pretty good game tonight. Who would have thought before the season started we'd be talking about Heat on the road in Cleveland, and the Cavs would be 5-point favorites, but that's the spot we find ourselves in here tonight. Total of 208 points. That has gone down a little bit, then come back up. So it seems like we've hit a pretty square spot on that one here with that. So I don't have a play on this game either, but I will say this. Just a little bit of a discount here, I think, on the Heat, but not enough for me to take the points. Once again, if I did have a play on this game, it would only be looking towards the under. Without Adebayo and Jimmy Butler still missing for Miami, and a host of other role players, obviously, this one seems like it's going to be a really slow-paced game, and both teams are going to be pretty methodical in that regard. Junior, I'll kick it over to you for this from first. Am I crazy to think that Miami can cover this game, or should I put a little more respect on Cleveland, as we've been doing for pretty much this entire season?
Yeah, I mean, I respect Cleveland. I've been cashing tickets with Cleveland, which is something I haven't been able to say in God knows how many years. So I definitely respect them, but I also respect the Miami Heat. And I think that this line it's a little much. Listen, when you're starting to lay over one possession with the Cavs, you're probably not going to get any of my money. The Heat still play defense. I think the under has some value here. I haven't seen the number since this morning, but I'm just looking for the number right now. I think the under is worth a look. It's at 208 though, which is still pretty low. I don't know. The best look that I saw personally when I was evaluating this game was the first quarter Cavs. I think that has some value, especially with the guys that are out. The Cavs have been playing pretty well in the first quarter of games. But again, it's right at that number because it was at 2.5, which is like the limit. -3, it's still a lot for a first quarter. We're getting a little silly with these Cavaliers spreads when you start laying 5.5. So for that reason, I'm just priced out of it because I'm not willing to do that.
Jay, what do you got on this one, Miami and Cleveland?
Yeah, it's heat or nothing for me here. It is a few too many points. Obviously, the Cavs went in there and smacked them up the last game. There was no Jimmy, there was no Bam. I was on the Heat in that game, and they couldn't make a three. So that's how you beat the Cavs. You have to push the pace. You have to make threes. Hero and Duncan Robinson, I think they were like 1 for 10 from 3. Absolutely terrible when they were at the house. So it's heat or nothing for me. I'm not betting against the Cavs right now. They're one of the hardest playing teams in the NBA right now. And one thing I'm starting to notice, all these guys are not playing hard every single night. So it's all about betting on the teams that players that are playing every single night. The Cavs have covered 10 straight games. No way in hell I'm betting against them right now, my guys.
Yeah, real tough to bet against the Cavs here, and they'll have the urge to. Another thing that surprised me about this was the first half total's gone up a little bit. It's gone up from 105 to 107. Cleveland has the best first half home defense in the entire league, giving up just over 100 points per 100 possessions through 14 games. Don't necessarily agree with that. Total of 208, but a first half of 107. Something Jay just mentioned, though, is if Miami does push the pace a little bit tonight, get Cleveland out of their comfort zone, that could obviously send this first half total going over. But lean the unders. I think, once again, I think that's probably the correct method to bet this game here. Whether or not it pays off is another matter because, like Junior mentioned, 208 or 107, not too many points for one of these teams to get hot or push the pace. Let's move on. Unless we got anything else on this one, we got Bucks and we got Boston tonight. Junior, I'll kick it back to you real quick because I know you said you had a play on this one as well. I know the Celtics have pretty much been in the fade category for most of the season for me. I think I've made 1 or 2 bets on Boston. I think I've split them. But this certainly does seem like Milwaukee, even on the second night of a back-to-back, even though we don't have an injury report just yet for them, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I still don't see it from 12:30 here. Even if the Bucks rest guys, are we confident in them to win this game on the road? And if they do, how valuable is this or if they don't rest any guys, I should say, how valuable is this number right now, Junior?
I think it's going to be Smack City, me personally. But I'll just admit my bias. I don't believe in what the Celtics are doing right now. I don't like the way that they look. I don't like the way that they're playing. And also my bias. And again, I watched this game yesterday. But I've watched their last couple of games, and maybe I'm reading too much into it. But to me, the Bucks look like they're back. Their 3 best players are playing, and they're playing well. But more importantly for me, it starts with defense with the Bucks. Once I see the Bucks look like they're willing to defend and put in that effort on the defensive end regularly, like I don't love that they allowed Houston to score 114. But they still held Houston to 19 points in the fourth quarter and only 23 in the first quarter. It was kind of like their bench guys let that kind of get away from them a little bit. The last couple of games I've seen from Milwaukee, their defense looks pretty good. And if they're going to put in the effort defensively and have their best players on the floor, they are one of the best teams in the league as defending champions, which is, me being captain obvious a little bit, but they just haven't looked right all season. This is, like I've been saying all season, this is not the Milwaukee team that was winning by margin for the last couple of years until recently, and they're still not winning by margin. Their average margin of victory on the season is only like 4.2, but I think that they're going to start giving teams a business, and I think that starts tonight. I know it's a back-to-back spot, but the reality is this. That was a matinee game. The game started at like noon, and that game was over pretty early. Milwaukee was chilling. Basically, after the first quarter, they were never in jeopardy of losing that game. So it's not a traditional back-to-back spot. I know I'm obviously trying to state my own case, so I'm going to make that argument. But I really believe that it's not a traditional back-to-back situation. Also, I'm from that area. Like, going from New York to Boston is nothing. It's just they're going to smack these boys up. I don't want to be too long-winded. Boston sucks right now. It's a lot of Jason Tatum and the spectators, and I don't think that's a winning formula. Not against this Bucks team anyway. That game was over pretty quickly yesterday at matinee. I think they held the Knicks to like 3
points in the first 6 minutes or something like that. So yeah,
exactly.
It was pretty sad. I was sad because I had the over, and then I turned it off, and of course like I said, they busted out 60 some odd points in the second quarter. Jay, are we going with the Bucks here? Is there is there anything that we haven't mentioned that would lean us towards the Celtics here? Because I feel like we all may be on the same side of this thing, but I'm not sure. So Jay, what do you got on this game?
I can understand looking at the Bucks here. The line is pretty short, in my opinion. Actually, the Celtics were the favorite. I could make cases for the Celtics here. I mean, the Bucks are 0-4 against the spread last four meetings. They're also 3-9 against the spread last 12 in Boston, and they're also 1-6 against the spread last 7 with 0 days rest. Also, a little nugget I'll give you guys. I was digging this morning. There's an angle of taking the loser of the first game as far as the Knicks and the Celtics back-to-back. Whoever, if they win their first game, you fade them. And next one literally that team has been 3-20 against the spread the last 23 games. It's crazy as hell. I'd like to take the Celtics here. I'll be honest with you. I don't like the fact that it's the first game back at the house after a 5-game West Coast road trip. 7 of their last 8 games have been on the road. The Celtics have just been traveling all over the place. That's the reason why they got smacked up versus the Suns as well. So they did have 2 days of rest to get back acclimated to the East Coast or whatever. They do get Junior Browne back tonight. Marcus Smart has an illness. He'll play. I can make cases for the Celtics. The Celtics are nothing for me here, and I hadn't bet it yet. I probably stay off this game, but I do think that the Celtics will come out here with a representative effort. If they had one game at the house already, I'd definitely be on. I hate taking teams first game back at the house after a long road trip, but despite, I do think that the Celtics come to play here.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that Brown is back tonight. He's going to be on a 30-minutes limit tonight, but that should be a lot considering they've been, like Junior said, Jason Tatum and not a lot else here recently since he's been in and out of the lineup. So yeah, I mean, short spread. These spreads you're going to find that we end up kind of leaning on either side of this thing one way or the other. So yeah, that may be some inclination here of what we're thinking on this one here. Let's move on to a game that I am very close to betting. I am very interested to hear what Jay Money has to say about this one. It's the Hornets and the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas obviously on the second night of a back-to-back, no Luka, but the Hornets still dealing with a lot of injuries. Obviously, a ton of guys in COVID protocol. Jay, the Dallas has played, I think, 4 games so far this season on no rest, and outside of that first one, which was back in October, which I could just discount. You could just throw that game out. They've been pretty good on the second night of a back-to-back. If they failed in that regard, it's been their offense, but their defense has played pretty good in these spots. They've played like I said, the Nuggets, the Spurs, and the Grizzlies twice on no rest so far this year. Am I crazy to think that Dallas? Who's taking points with the Hornets in this one? It's Dallas or nothing for me easily. I'm very interested to see if Jay thinks the same way here, because I think that the Hornets getting a lot of too much love here at this spread.
Yeah, this is a game where a ton of injuries. You ask me. Obviously, LaMelo Ball, Rozier still out. You don't have Luka. We already knew that he's going to be out for a couple of games straight. So they did get the win last night. I'm a big fan of Jalen Brunson. I'm a big fan of looking at Jalen Brunson's props again. When Luka's out, Jalen Brunson's usage goes up even higher. Even when Luka's in there, he's passing the ball to Brunson. So I'll be honest, the spread is coming down. I still think the Mavs can get it done. The road team has covered the past 4 meetings. They already beat them. It was the last time they faced them, the Mavs already beat them. So the Mavs are the better squad. Obviously, the Hornets, they've covered 5 straight. They can't keep doing it with all of these injuries. I know that Washington and Richards are questionable here. This is the type of games that the Mavs have to win, if you ask me. So it's Mavs or nothing, and they just making the spread even shorter. I'd be looking towards the Mavs in this. That's the only way I could look in this one, my guy. Yeah,
this gets down to 2 points. I might have to lay the points back to back or nothing. The under also, I was going to mention here before I kicked it over to you, the under also seems like it could have some value if indeed we get some guys rested for the Mavericks, but I agree. I think with Luka already out, I don't think you can afford to do that if you're the Mavs. I think you have to take care of business tonight at home. And on top of that, the total's going to come down 4 points. So I think a lot of people beat me to that punch. Junior, you got any play on this game? Are we crazy for thinking Dallas is a value here on no rest, or are you rolling with the Hornets here?
No, actually, I think you guys are right, because I think I made that pretty clear that I think this Dallas team sucks. But I think it's an interesting spot for them to play without Luka. The way they looked in the last game, obviously they're not ever going to be as competitive with without one of the best players in the league as they would with him. But it also gives them other guys a chance just to play in an offense that's it's a little bit more free. Like Luka's usage rating is 36%, which is by far the highest in the NBA, which is one of the reasons why he averages so many turnovers. He averages like 4.7 turnovers a game. I just think that the rest of these guys could get a little bit of rhythm, which could probably help turn their season around once Luka comes back, because you have to figure that if Luka sees any of them having success while he's out, he's going to try and capitalize on that, because he doesn't strike me as like a selfish player. He strikes me as a player that just does whatever it takes to win. He's just being asked to do way too much in this spot. But if you're just looking at what the Hornets are going to put on the court tonight and what the Mavericks are going to put on the court tonight, it has to be Mavericks because you don't know what you're going to get from the Hornets. I think I have an idea of what the Mavericks are going to do. And they listen, their defenses look pretty good the last couple of games, if we're just going to be realistic. I'm not really sure if that's that their defense has been so great, or it's a combination of the fact that they play at a really slow pace plus the opponents that they're playing. But it's a real thing, and it's happening. So I would have been on the under if it didn't get like 4 points of value. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So I just missed out on that number. But I think the if you got it at 220, under 220 to me. I mean, the average NBA game is what, like 214 and a half, 215, something like that. So if you got under 220 in this spot, you're looking pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was probably the play. But yeah, I think we may, now that it's down to 216, that concerns me a little bit. And one more thing I will say, the Hornets have now played their last 4 games without LaMelo Ball and those guys that went into health and safety protocols, and they are dead last in the league in defensive efficiency throughout that stand. Now, on the flip side, they've been like third or second in offensive efficiency. It can't continue like that. On the road, a non-conference opponent, still a good one even without their superstar. Not great, obviously, and probably a little overvalued to start the year, but the Mavs, they're still going to play well regardless here in this game. So yeah, I think a strong lean. Nothing official yet for me, but strong lead, I think, towards the Mavs here. I think we're pretty much all in agreement with that one. I'm going to go to the last game of the night before we wrap it up here. Late game, only late game of the slate here tonight, 10:30 Eastern starting. It should be a very good one of my favorite on this slate. It's the Phoenix Suns heading into Los Angeles to play the Clippers. No Devin Booker, obviously. We got no Paul George tonight for the Clippers. We have Nick Batum for the Clippers questionable. We got DeAndre Ayton, who missed their last game against Boston with, I think it's a non-COVID illness. He's questionable as well. This one is tough. I wrote this one up for BMR, so I'll just real quick give my thoughts before I kick it over to Jay. But I got the Clippers here in the first half. Not a little scared to take them full game here, but I think if Ayton misses, that could be the nail in the coffin here for the Suns in this one. It didn't really matter against the Celtics, but I think it will matter against this Clippers team, who have the best first half defense in the league at home, or second best, excuse me, the second best first half defense in the league at home. But either way, I think that plays tonight without Booker and potentially without Ayton. That could really open up some holes in the Suns offense. And I was already to bet the under, and then like the first half total is like 102 points. There's 103, something like that. Very, very, very low number. The books knew it was coming with that one, so they set that line accordingly. So I think the Clippers here, though, are the value play. I hope Nick Batum is able to come back from his ankle sprain, because without George, he's one of the bigger reasons why they have so much wing depth. And obviously he's missed a ton of time before spraining his ankle halfway through their last game and then missing recently. So the Clippers here, I think, are the play. The Suns obviously have been playing better, but I think the holes are a little bit there here for this to be a muck it up kind of first half. I could see them winning this game, but I think the Clippers are good enough to come in here and control the pace, even without Paul George. And one more last thing I think I've mentioned before the Suns team, I think George here, the Clippers' ability to replace him, at least on a night-to-night basis until he's back, is a lot easier than it's going to be for the Suns to replace Booker, even though they've been playing pretty well without him so far. I think that stops here. I'm not ready to take Clippers on the game here, but I do have them in the first half, plus 1.5. Jay, do you think you might on the right track tonight? What do you think about this game?
I'm actually pretty surprised you're not looking towards the under in this game, to be honest with you. I'm actually very surprised. I feel like the under is a really good play in this game, really two good defensive teams. The Clippers without Paul George is not the same. I know they still have Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson's so up and down, I can't even really say this. So no real offensive punch, if you ask me, other than Luke Kennard possibly getting hot with some threes. I think this Clippers team is all defense without Paul George. You look at it, and I kind of felt like a public Joe at first, man. I'll be honest. Like, I put the Suns socks on everything. I'm like, I'm gonna be all over the Suns here. No Paul George, he's doubtful. Then I'm looking. You always have to look deeper into the game. I'm like, this is playoff revenge. The Clippers just got put out by the Suns last year. So with that said, right there, I do think they will come with some extra added motivation that means a lot around this time of year. So I did stay off the Suns. I feel like that under is I'm not gonna say a lock, but obviously the Suns without Booker, which they can do it still, but the defense is still top tier by far. Then the Clippers without Paul George, they turn into a much more defensive team where they have to do a defense. This one may not get past 200, man. I'd like the under in this game. It's the only way I'd look here. I did lean towards the Suns. I think their defense can literally clamp down on the Clippers without Paul George. I'd be a little, even though they have playoff revenge, and I didn't take the Suns, I'd still be very weary of the Clippers without their best player in this one. The offense already isn't that good. You're going up against the best defensive team in the league here. So I still kind of lean Suns. I'm staying off a super public play, but I'll probably still cash. But I really like the under in this game, to be honest with you, Jordan. I'm still surprised you ain't like.
No, I don't blame you. I thought about it. I thought about it hard. The one thing I didn't mention, it kind of kept me away from it, is just I'm a little scared of the pace here. Both these teams kind of borderline. Suns are top 10 in pace. They're top 5 in pace in the league. Clippers right around that top 10 mark. I don't know if the stars missing is going to speed them up or not, and that scares the crap out of me with this really short number here on the total, especially the first half. You're right. The full game, if we get like a 40-point quarter out of these two teams, that total is going to cash under easily, and that could very well happen between these two defenses, because you're right. Booker being out may just improve their defense. And we've seen JaVale McGee just go nuts in the last game without Ayton, and he's obviously a defensive player. So, I mean, more you think about it, the under does have, I think, some value. But I just think the Clippers, what you said, like the playoff revenge, the defense, the home court advantage, I think gets it done in the first half for them. Junior, what do you got on this game real quick before we wrap it up?
I mean, if I did have a play, which I don't, it would be Clippers team total under. I agree with a lot of what Jay said. I don't think the Clippers score 100 points in this game unless George Paul. I almost said George Paul. I don't think the Clippers score 100 points in this game unless Paul George plays. Just watching their games lately, against this Phoenix team, they're going to have a really hard time getting things going. Because, like Jay said, where is the offensive punch coming from? Like, even though Paul George isn't shooting that well, he attracts so much attention that he gets other players open looks that they're just not going to have without him on the floor. That's why his assist numbers have been so good. Like, if you look at his all-around numbers, even though his shooting percentages are pretty bad, his all-around contributions are actually really good. Like, he's having a pretty good season. And I just think without him, you're asking a lot of these other guys, like, who's their next best offensive player without Paul George on the floor? It gets pretty rough out there in Clipperland. And on top of that, they're a good defensive team themselves. So I could really see this game, like Jay said, I don't see this game getting over 205. He said 200. I don't think it goes over 205. So I think the under is the play either on the game total or on the Clippers team total, because I really think they struggle to get to 100 points. Yeah,
pace aside, I mean, you can play as fast as you want. If you don't make shots, it doesn't really matter. So that's definitely making a case for it. I'll definitely lean that way. It seems like that may be the Triple J official one if there is one tonight. But it's real tough slate, man. Tons of injuries. That game being one of the bigger ones. But that sucks. And more of that is coming tomorrow. Tune in though, because we're going to be here. We're going to be breaking it down. But let's get to our officials here real quick before we wrap it up, because we are out of time. I'll go first real quick. Got Clippers first half plus 1.5. I think they are ahead, or at least just down by 1 at the end of the first half. No play on the full game for me yet, though, but definitely would lean under in that one as well. And lean the Mavs, but nothing yet for me on that game. I'll kick it over to Jay. Jay Money, what do you got for officials tonight?
Yeah, nothing official for me, guys. I'll be honest. I want to take the Celtics. Really counter narratives in pretty much every game, and I like to be on something that all boxes check. So, want heavy lean Celtics, heavy lean Mavs, heavy lean Suns, Clippers under for me, my guys.
Junior Browne, what you got tonight?
I got the under Pacers, Warriors. I think the Warriors bounce back tonight with a defensive effort. Speaking of team totals, I think the Pacers struggle to get to 100 points, if I'm going to be honest. I think the Warriors can win this game by scoring 110 points or less, which should make the total come through, cash in for me tonight. And I'm going with not the Celtics, I'm sorry. I'm going with the Bucks. I just think they look like they mean business these days with their three best players back. That matinee game was over by like 12-15, son. So, yeah, even though the rest advantage is with Boston. And honestly, I think that classic situation that we see a lot, when a volume shooter comes back into the lineup, that could throw off the offense a little bit, even though the Boston offense can't be thrown off more than it has been. They're averaging like 101 points a game the last 3 games. So we'll see. Obviously, I'm going to say the narrative that fits my pick, right? So good thing is either me or Jay is going to cash in. So one of us is cashing. That's fine by me. But that's
I'm not on the Celtics. I'm not on the
okay.
I didn't bet a single thing today. Okay. I hope you cash, my brother.
Yeah, let's get this done tonight. You heard it first. That's it for us today. Visit Bookmakers Review. See all the content we got out there. We got tons of content that you can better inform your NBA picks and any other sport you make. But us specifically, we obviously focus on the hoops. Of course, follow J Money on Twitter as well as Junior Browne. I am Jordan Sharp. Make sure also, before you leave, please like this video. Please subscribe to our channel. It is the season of giving and sharing, and we'd love to share. So tell your friends about this video, too, because we'd appreciate that as well. For Junior Browne, for J Money, I am Jordan Sharp. We'll see you tomorrow on Tuesday. Best of luck to you tonight, and have a good one.